How you doing, guys? Shep here. Today we're going to cover a lot of things regarding the NFL. It's my first podcast regarding stuff like this. I've done some in the past. I'm going to try to stick to it this time. And we're going to go over first Kyler Murray. So Kyler Murray, the guy I got stuck with in fantasy this year, which I wasn't too thrilled about. But I'm like, hey, even on a Kyler Murray bad year, he's usually still a top 12 quarterback. So I'm like, this can't be the worst thing in the world. I don't even think he's top 15 right now, and he's been having some really bad games. I wasn't too thrilled that he went out of last week's game because a ball hit him in the helmet. I mean, maybe there was something with his ankle there. I'm not exactly sure, but it really did look like the ball hit his helmet, and he got a little winded and went out of the game. So I wasn't too happy about that. He's been averaging about 15 points a game, which is really not good for a dual threat quarterback. It's actually really bad for a dual threat quarterback. And just not even fantasy purposes. Like Kyler Murray, is he the guy for Arizona? I really don't think so. I mean, I'm rooting for him. I hope he pulls it together. I root for everybody to prove me wrong. I want everybody to prove me wrong. If I offer criticism to anybody, I want them to go out there and shut me up, okay? But what I have seen from Kyler Murray is I don't know if he loves the game of football. He seems like he can't put it all together. Right, I think he had a good sophomore season, and outside of that, we just have not seen that kind of Kyler Murray. Okay, he leaves a lot of plays on the field, doesn't see a lot of stuff, and overall, he's just playing like trash football, absolute just trash football. And I don't know if you guys have the same opinion as me, but I just do not think he's the guy. And I hope he goes out there this week and proves me wrong. Because like I said, he's still my fantasy quarterback. I've got him on a lot of fantasy best ball teams, if you guys know what best ball is. So, Kyler, go out there, prove me wrong. Get a few touchdowns. One of them to Harrison Jr. Get that guy going. Show the world that you're not this guy who's obsessed with Call of Duty. Show us that you do like watching film. Show us that you do love football. Show us that you'll play your absolute heart out to win games. Because we have not seen that from you for the past at least few seasons, okay? And you're making everybody question you. So, Kyler, instead of everybody thinking, what the heck is wrong with you, go out there, prove everybody wrong, because right now none of us see it, in my opinion. So, Kyler, go out there, do your thing, because it's just not working. The next guy I want to mention here is Jonathan Taylor. My God, what a season he is having. Like I said, I got him on my fantasy team too, and Jonathan Taylor is just tearing it up. He is easily the best running back in football right now. I felt like he was due for one of those monster years I believe he had in his sophomore year. I feel like he was due for that. I was very bullish on him this year, and I'm glad he's putting it all together. This is the first year he's had a real quarterback in quite some time, and I've always been a big fan of Shane Steichen. I think he's a great head coach with some great plays, a great scheme. So it's great to see Taylor just putting it all together and really playing hard football and just playing the best football of his life. Even possibly even better than his sophomore year. He could get 2,000 yards this year rushing, or at least break the touchdown record. If Jonathan Taylor goes 25 rushing touchdowns this year, I would not be surprised. The guy is just tearing it up. He's an absolute great football prospect when he came out, and I'm glad to see him back on top of the mountain, right? So we've seen when great running backs get a good quarterback and they get a good offensive line, and they have a good coach, right? So we saw it with Saquon Barkley last year. For the first time in Saquon Barkley's career, I mean, outside of maybe his rookie season, Saquon Barkley went to the Eagles, who possibly have the best O-line in football. They got a really good quarterback, good receivers, and a good coach. So, Saquon Barkley just tore it up last year. So now we're seeing the same with Jonathan Taylor. I think Taylor is personally an all-around better running back slightly than Saquon Barkley. And Jonathan Taylor, he's a couple years younger too. So Jonathan Taylor is just tearing it up right now, and I'm really proud of that guy. It's amazing to watch. He's one of the funnest running backs to watch in the league, and I'm just really happy for him. The Colts fans should be happy. You guys got a really great running back. And it's kind of funny that I say, oh, now he's got a quarterback. If you would have told me Daniel Jones would be the guy, I would have told you were crazy. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I knew Daniel Jones was going to be good. No, I thought Daniel Jones was going to be ass, just like he has always been, right? I have criticized Daniel Jones so much. I have criticized him so much. And I still want to see a full season to see if he can keep this up, but he has been tearing it up. 100% props to Daniel Jones. He looks like an absolute all-star quarterback, so I think my criticism of him was fair the past several years, but he is tearing it up, and he's proving me wrong in every single way, and I'm really proud of that guy. So Daniel Jones playing some amazing football. And the Colts just have a great team. They have a good defense, and their offense, Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs is a pretty good receiver, and Warren. Oh man, Warren looks like he's going to be a great top 5 tight end one day. Probably at least a top 7, 8 tight end already out of the gate. So, great team. I think they're definitely on the rise. And, the AFC South is historically a pretty weak division since Peyton Manning left. And I think that, the Colts could dominate that division for a long time if they keep this up. But it looks like the Jags are on the rise too. And you can't sleep on the Texans as well. So, it might become a really tough division here for all we know. But overall, Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Colts looking really good. So props to Jonathan Taylor. He is just playing some monster football. He's probably going to finish I think he'll probably finish as the best fantasy player in the league. And he's probably just going to be the best skill position overall in football this year, I think. Puka's probably going to become a close number 2. And we'll get to Puka here next. Next up is Puka Nacua. I would love to give Puka props here. He has just been the best receiver in the league this year by far. That Puka-Adams combination this year is looking super solid. Stafford's looking amazing. Props to McVay for getting that whole Rams offense just absolutely, wheels on fire this year. Puka, though, man, he's amazing, right? Like if you had him on your fantasy team, for example, you're probably like at least 4-1 right now, unless the rest of your team is just trash. So Puka playing lights out football, amazing player to watch. One of the best rookie seasons of all time, and I am just really, really happy for the guy. It's great to see him ball out and just play this absolute amazing football. I thought wide receiver 1 was in Puka's range of outcomes. Like that is possible, but I'm still a little surprised, right? I could see Puka being a top 5 receiver, but just like by far the best receiver in football so far, just didn't exactly see that coming. When you got guys like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, right? And he's just now granted Chase lost Burrow and Jefferson's had quarterback issues and Lamb's had injury issues of his own, but still, I think even if all those things were correct for those guys, I still think Puka would probably be number 1 right now. He is just absolutely balling and just really great to watch. So I'm really happy for him. Next up, Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Look, you can argue that was the best game of Trevor Lawrence's football career. I'm not sure where it is stat-wise, but I'm just saying, if you actually watch the game, that might be the best game of his career. He beat a tough Chief team, okay? It was a really good football game by Trevor Lawrence. The grit. What I want to see from quarterbacks, if you don't have that grit, if you don't have that toughness, which is one of the reasons I crucified Kyler a little bit earlier, is I want to see that grit, that toughness, where you will just do anything to win that game, no matter what. And Trevor Lawrence showed that last night on Monday Night Football. I'm recording this on Tuesday here, and I might not release this video until Wednesday. But Trevor Lawrence just absolutely looked phenomenal. He was just full of grit, toughness, did not want to lose that game. He made some amazing runs, and I do not know why the Jaguars do not run this guy more often. He's got some wheels on him, okay? He's not Lamar Jackson, all right, but he's got some wheels. He can run 7 times a game, okay? Or at least 5 times a game for sure. He can get a rushing touchdown almost every game if you really wanted him to. So Trevor Lawrence, he was balling last night, showed up a lot of heart, and in my opinion, some Chief fans will probably get mad at me for this. I got love for everybody, love for all you guys. So if you get mad at me, that's on you. But I call things the way I see it. Now, I know the Chiefs had more penalties than the Jaguars. It was like something like 12-5 or something like that. But overall, there was a lot of penalties that were not called on the Chiefs in crucial situations. So the first Chief touchdown, that was easily offensive pass interference. All three guys agreed, the two commentators and then the head ref guy that calls in, they all agreed that was offensive pass interference. That was not called. Okay, the Chiefs should have ended that drive with 3 points. And then the next one was the Trevor Lawrence touchdown. That was called a fumble. Now, you can look at that and you can say, okay, that's a fumble. I think it's very debatable, right? If you told me you think that's a fumble, I think that's a very fair opinion. I thought he broke the plane from one of the angles. I thought it touched the white line. I thought he was in. But it's 50-50. I could easily see that being called either way. And then you have the Trevor Lawrence interception, where that was clearly defensive pass interference. 100% defensive pass interference. That was one of maybe the worst no call of the year so far, was that. So, I can't believe the refs missed that one. But even with all that, the Jags still were able to overcome all of that and still win the game, coming down from 14-0 and just playing lights out football on both sides of the ball all game. So props to Trevor Lawrence. If Trevor Lawrence played like that every week, he could be the Trevor Lawrence we thought he could be. A top 5 to 7 quarterback week in, week out. So Trevor Lawrence, if you play that way every week, you're the man. And that was an amazing, fun game to watch. That was one of the funnest games I've watched in a while. We had the Ravens-Bills the first week. This might be like my second favorite game of the year. So props to both teams. I thought Mahomes played a hell of a game too. So I'll give Mahomes love. Mahomes played his heart out. And Patrick Mahomes is having a great season, actually. So Patrick Mahomes, I think, is QB2 in fantasy behind Josh Allen. And he's having a great year. So Patrick Mahomes, and his cast isn't even like all that healthy yet. He still gets Rashee Rice back. Worthy's been banged up all year. And still get Jalen Royals involved in the second half of the year. I think he's going to be a good rookie. So overall, he's got a good cast this year for the first time in a long time. It just depends, when can they all be healthy? So the Chiefs, props to them. They played a good game. Patrick Mahomes having a great year. I got to give the Buccaneers a shout out. And I was talking to some friends about this, and I am just so impressed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. I thought they were going to regress without Liam Cohen. I think Liam Cohen is an amazing offensive football coach. So I was like, okay, the Bucs might take a step back this year. And I was wrong. The Bucs offense looks amazing. Baker's balling. Their rookie, oh my God, he is, I don't want to risk pronouncing his name wrong. So he is looking absolutely phenomenal. Probably the best rookie receiver I've seen in a little while. And since Puka probably, right? Unless I'm missing somebody here. So he's just playing amazing football. And I am really impressed with the Bucs. So their offense, great. Their defense is probably pretty average at best, but their offense is absolutely phenomenal. So their passing offense especially. Oh my God, when they're all healthy, they have not been all healthy together yet, right? When they're all healthy, you have 3 number 1 wide receivers, which only happens once in a blue moon in the NFL. 3 legitimate number 1 receivers. I mean, maybe you can argue Godwin's more of a 1.25, maybe not a full-fledged number 1, but he's very, very, very close to a number 1 wide receiver. And Mike Evans, one of the best to ever do it. This rookie, oh my God, he looks like he can be a top 10 receiver right now. Top 10 receiver already in the league, right? And then you got Mike Evans coming back, who's a top 10 receiver. And it's just 3 number 1 receivers on the same team. Kate Otton's a decent tight end. And then they got 2 great running backs, or at least 1 great running back in Bucky Irving and 1 solid running back in Rachaad White. So Rachaad White can carry the load if Bucky Irving is injured. I think White's a decent football player. And Bucky Irving is one of the best running backs in the league. So this Buck offense is really good. And this team reminds me of the 2016 Raiders I'm a Raider fan, by the way. So the 2016 Raiders would get walk-off win, like one score. So the Bucs kind of remind me of them. You can even argue like kind of the Chiefs last year where they would just constantly win one-score games. So the Bucs right now, they're just winning constant one-score games, but they're constantly facing a tough team. Like their schedule's tough. So they're constantly facing a tough team after tough team. Like next week, I think they play the Niners. I think it's on the road. And I like them in that game, actually. So the Buccaneers, they're looking like phenomenal, like a phenomenal football team right now. I could easily see them being like the number 2 seed in the league and making the NFC Championship. I don't know if they would actually make the Super Bowl, but it wouldn't shock me. I just think with that defense, I don't know if they could make the Super Bowl. But they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to win their division. And they can absolutely win it all if they put it all together. So Baker Mayfield, I'm happy for the guy. He had a rough start to his career. Cleveland, no offense to any Cleveland fans out there. I think Cleveland has a great fan base, so I'm not trying to, talk crap about the Browns here. But, I feel like the Browns just didn't do enough for Baker. His weapons in Cleveland were very lackluster. He did have a good O-line, but his weapons were always very lackluster, and his coaches were always pretty abysmal. So here you go in Tampa. He's had good offensive coaches, great offensive weapons, solid O-line, and look what he can do. He looks like a top 10 quarterback, right? The Baker we thought he could be. Is he the same? Is he like a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, etc.? I'd say no, but he's right there in that second tier, and he is a top 10 quarterback. I fully believe that. So, and this is coming from a guy that used to criticize Baker, right? I used to criticize Baker. I'm like, okay, this guy, he wasn't like the super greatest prospect there was entering the draft, at least as a number 1 pick, right? There's been a lot better number 1 picks out there. But he's put it all together, and he looks really solid, and I'm happy he's had a resurgence to his career in Tampa. And I look forward to see what the Buccaneers can do every week. They're a fun team to watch. Fun team to root for. If the Bucs were in the Super Bowl, I'd be very happy for them and very likely rooting for them depending on who the AFC opponent is. I don't think I could root on them if it's like the Bills, because I'd really love to see Josh Allen get a ring. But overall, they look really good. So I will wrap this up with Geno Smith and the Raiders. Geno Smith, you suck. Some people say if you criticize your own team, you're not a real fan. And those people really piss me off. Oh, you're not a real fan. You're not loyal. Blah, blah. I have been a Raider fan since 1997. Okay? I have watched probably 98% of the games since 1997. So, and the only time I would miss it is if something major happened, right? So I am a very loyal fan, probably a little too loyal, right? I can absolutely criticize my own team, right? If you feel you can't criticize your own team, like if someone tells you can't criticize your own team, that person is brainwashed, okay? They're just a blind follower, okay? I will criticize my own team as much as I want, especially if they're playing absolute ass football, which is what they're doing. Geno Smith, he gets fooled way too easily, okay? He cannot read a defense in real time, especially if it's disguised in the secondary. Corners jump the ball, the safety jump the ball, like he can't see it coming, okay? Geno, you can move the ball really well, but outside of that, like, he loves to freaking throw interceptions, and I'm tired of it. I'm sure other people are tired of it. I want to see Kenny Pickett in there. I don't have much hope for Pickett either, but I think it would be a better option than Geno at this point. Look, Geno, I'm not trying to hate on you. I hope you put it all together. I love the fact that you resurged your career in Seattle, but you are playing like crap, okay? Like, you are playing like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL currently. Now, the offensive line is not great. The receiving core is not great. But I wouldn't say, like, you should be playing this bad. Like, you should absolutely not be playing this terrible. Pete Carroll, I don't know what you're doing either. I had mixed reactions on hiring Pete Carroll as head coach. I prefer, like, a youthful guy who has got, like, this new innovative scheme, etc., like Ben Johnson or Liam Cohn. I did not want to hire Pete Carroll, although I wasn't, like, fully against it either. I am just not happy. Like, the only person I am happy with right now is like the defensive line and Max Crosby. I fully think Max Crosby is the best defensive player in the NFL. He is balling too. Just watch every Max Crosby play this year. He is playing out of his mind. He is hustling every play. Max Crosby is a warrior. Max Crosby is playing his heart out. He deserves better. He 100% deserves better. Max Crosby does not deserve this trash team. Max Crosby does not deserve this trash effort. Max Crosby does not deserve this trash quarterback situation the past few years since Carr left. Like, this, Max Crosby deserves a lot better, okay? He is that shining spot on our team right now that is just absolutely keeping us in games. And the rest of the D-line's playing pretty good too. Kuntz is playing well. Overall, those guys are, that defensive line is keeping us in these football games. Overall, I hope to see more Ashton Jeanty. He looked great in that one game, and I think he can still be one of the best running backs in the league when he puts it all together. I think his offensive line is not good. His quarterback is playing trash. So, once Jeanty gets a real offense, I think he'll look like an absolute stud. But Geno, please pull your head out of your ass and start playing good football. And I say that with love. I'm not saying it as a shade. I mean, you can consider it shade, but I'm very blunt. You are playing like trash, and you could play a lot better, right? I personally think you should be benched for Kenny Pickett, which is saying a lot. But if Pete Carroll does give you one more game, then I hope you play lights out, because we're 1-4. The season looks like it's over, but you can still try to put something together and play some respectable football. So, Geno, you seem like a great guy personally, like an amazing human being, but you're playing trash football, and you need to turn it around. So, I'm not happy with the Raiders this year. I'm not happy with the Raiders any year, but I've been a fan for basically 30 years now. We had a good year in 2016, and that was about it. So, we had a good run in 2000 to 2002. I was alive for that in middle school, a long time ago, 2000 to 2002, with that John Gruden, Rich Gannon, Tim Brown, Jerry Rice team. So, overall, that's my episode for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see some more good football to come this week. I think I'm going to make some MVP rankings and some power rankings and some other stuff. So, please subscribe. It'll encourage me to make more videos if you enjoyed this video at all. So thank you so much for watching the video. And like, subscribe, and also comment. When you comment, it helps go into the algorithm. So I'd really appreciate if you guys comment down below. Comment on Kyler Murray. Comment on Geno Smith. Comment whatever you think. So thank you so much, guys. This is Alex signing out.